What if you could make one decision to unleash everything great in your life? Would you do it? Would you say yes? Aren't you tired of your relationships, your health, and so much more suffering because you lack the truth you need to change? The life you desire is within your reach. You can achieve all the success, happiness, and prosperity you deserve by simply learning the secrets that lead to real personal transformation. Change is hard, but not impossible. You just have to make one radical decision to get real. And there's no better authority on the real steps to change than David G. Evans.
Some men trust in chariots. Some men trust in horses. But we will trust in the Lord.
David G. Evans is leading the charge to bring you the power to change your life. He is committed to the mission of helping you transform and become a person of power, and it starts with his all-new system to change your situation. At the centerpiece of this life-altering collection is David Evans' groundbreaking training course. From ridiculous to radical to real, this means war. In this series, you will discover the steps to change. This series includes 2 powerful messages, each on winning the battle in your mind and cultivating a language of faith. That's 4 messages, 4 power-filled hours of material. If you want a better marriage, this series has the answers. If you want to achieve financial independence God's way, the secrets in this series will empower you to make it happen. If you want a life of power, anointing, and influence, this series will show you how to get it, and there's more. You're looking for serious, immediate results. So Bishop Evans will also include one of his best-selling messages called Weapon of Warfare. This classic teaching will build you up to start fighting in the spirit for what you deserve. This powerhouse collection, from ridiculous to radical to real, and Weapon of Warfare, will give you all the biblical strategies you need to change anything in your life. This collection will ship to you immediately with your gift today to David G. Evans Ministries. This ministry is revolutionizing the kingdom by empowering believers. Souls are being saved daily, and we need your help to grow this impact in a real way. Call now and sow your seed of just $35 for your transformation to help people around the world. Your $35 love gift goes straight to the front lines of ministry, providing help to those that need it most. Call now. Make the decision to get the power you need to change your life forever.
Isn't it time to stop reliving your past hurts and move on to a bright and hopeful future?
I have a right to be upset, but I don't have a right to be wounded for the rest of my life. So I choose to be healed.
Get rid of the bitter poison that unforgiveness administers to the soul with Bishop David G. Evans. Forgive again, live again.
It's a liberating experience, and being able to forgive someone and forgiving yourself. It's liberating.
Forgiveness will deliver me in 3 dimensions. From what happened, from who it happened with, from when it happened. Because sometimes you'll get free from the what, but the who will still have you bound.
This highly sought-after 4-part message of healing can be yours on CD or DVD. Act now, and we'll include Bishop's book, Healed Without Scars, with your order absolutely free. All yours when you visit our website or call 1-800-591-8480 today.
Welcome to OnPoint, the #1 Saturday morning Christian-based call-in talk show in the United States of America, coming to you live every Saturday morning from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern Time on any smart device at David G. Evans, the #1. That's at David G. Evans, the #1. We're so glad you've joined us on OnPoint. If this is your first time with us, welcome. We talk about culture, we talk about faith, we talk about religion, sports, politics, any current event that will impact your life. We give you the perspective from a biblical point of view. So it's always from a kingdom perspective. We have some of the most biblically intelligent callers in the country, and we're glad you're one of them this morning. If you want to speak with us, you want to talk with us, we'd love talking to you. The number is 866-743-8267. That's 866-743-8267. That's 866-74-EVANS, if you can figure out the letters and the numbers, because I don't do that well. Joining me this morning, Reverend Dr. Richard White.
Morning, Bishop.
How you doing?
I'm good, thank you, sir.
Good to see you, man.
Good to see you, too.
Welcome to OnPoint. Going to have a great discussion this morning. I guess all over the world, the topic of discussion is the Queen and her passing away. And I didn't realize until this morning, I've never known another Queen of England.
Exactly.
She reigned 70 years.
70 years.
And I've been alive 70 years.
Isn't that something?
It's bad.
I was thinking about that last night.
I'm thinking to myself, she's been on her job as long as I've been alive. I'm like,
Faithfully on the job.
Wow.
Yeah.
And just the legacy of her. People don't stay in positions for 5 minutes now.
No.
But to have reigned in the same job, in the same position, with the same political pressures, I started thinking about her medical team must have been awesome during this time, because the stress of the position must have been incredible.
Yeah. And losing her husband in the last
year,
Yeah.
And then a lot of people didn't think that once her husband passed away, because they'd been together like
long time,
like 60 years.
Something like that.
So something crazy. Maybe 70, because she got married before she became queen.
That's right.
Yeah, so they were together like 69, 70 years. So
that's a long time.
A lot of people didn't think she would survive that, and I've seen that phenomena happen in a lot of people's lives that I knew, where they were together every day for 45 and 50 years, and some people don't survive the loss of that love.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah.
It's a big one.
But to see the country react, see the world react, to realize her legacy with American presidents, and then to watch the country, they're going to go through a transition, but Charles has been preparing for this his entire life.
Yeah, and he's been watching her example every day.
So he hit the ground running. And some people will question, and this is something I think we might get some perspective on today. Some people will question his calmness or the modulated nature of his response to him not caring.
Yeah.
But only people that don't understand his responsibility also don't understand his relationship with his mother can look at his calmness and think he doesn't really care.
Yeah, and that's such a true point, Bishop. You said this many times when a loved one passes, you see folks just like lose it, or those that just are kind of calm, those that have done everything they could do, that were always there, that don't have these I wish I would have.
Yep.
It's different.
Yeah, absolutely.
Than when you have left something undone.
Yeah, so people are accusing him of being cold, but they don't understand that his reaction has to be managed because of the position that he's in.
It has to be king-like.
And they forget he has a family and his own thing.
That's right.
If he wants to bust open, he can do that.
That's right.
In the privacy. But I wonder why people want to see him break down in public. What does that do for them?
Doesn't do anything. And I think he's he doesn't wear his emotions on his sleeve.
No, he's a calm dude.
He seems like he's a calm guy.
Yeah,
and he did joke and stuff
yeah,
like that.
Yeah,
like his
so
mom did.
I I don't know why people maybe want to put their emotions on him at this time. But perhaps he didn't leave anything on the table concerning his mother.
That's right. Right. And he is now king.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to have to act kingly.
All the time. All the time. So I'm back to people not having his responsibility. So they don't understand why he's reacting. Because your responsibilities tend to govern how you react to a variety of things.
That's right.
You know, in your position, in my position, there are too many people depending on us for us to go to pieces.
Right. Regardless of how you want to react.
Absolutely.
Ain't like you didn't want to react.
No. I think oftentimes they're watching a dual reaction. They're watching Charles react as a professional and as a son, but they won't see as much son.
That's right.
As they will professional.
That's right.
Yeah.
But he's still a son.
Oh, absolutely.
And he's going to be a son.
He's going to have his moments.
Right. He's going to be a son.
But then again, He's been watching her for a long time.
Long time. And she, you know, those back talks they used to have together, just him and her.
Yeah.
She's telling now.
Showing him how to do this thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm interested in how the country's going to manage. I think people are expecting less from him.
Yeah,
I think he's going to surprise them.
I think so too.
I think he came out of the blocks yesterday doing something they thought was totally uncharacteristic from him. He started touching the people, immediately.
Yeah.
Which is his mom liked to be.
Right.
So I don't know why they don't understand. He's been on OJT
for a long
his
time.
entire life.
His entire life. And I think that new prime minister is going to, is going to need him.
Oh yeah.
She's going to need him.
Oh yeah.
And and
Oh,
those
yeah.
connections that he has.
Oh,
to
yeah.
get some of the things that she needs to do done. They got high inflation, high energy. Water's issue everywhere. So they're going to need each other during this time.
I agree. I think, and it's good. It's not, to me, it's providential that she starts her term as prime minister. He starts his term as king at virtually the same time.
Same time. But the Queen was there the 2 days when the new prime minister was named.
Yeah.
The Queen was there.
Yeah, she went in and did her
She went
job.
in there. They came to see her wherever she was.
Yeah, she did her thing.
She did her thing. She's a bad lady, man.
Yeah, man. I've lived 70 years. She's reigned 70 years. I don't know England to have another royal person.
They said this hasn't been done since 1952.
Yeah,
What they did yesterday.
That's when I was born.
52.
52.
That's when I was born. 1952.
So we have this. I'm always interested in the juxtaposition of politics. We've got war in Warsaw. We've got this royal transition in the United States. We've got a former president here, and the United States with all its challenges at this present time. There's always this global flux going on.
That's
always this thing happening in different parts of the world, and it just I'm interested in what is our former president going to do. And people criticize who was the guy that ran the investigation before, while Trump was in office.
FBI. I mean,
The kind of committee that was investigating everything that had to do.
Yeah, I don't recall his
the
name,
attorney.
but I know.
So his move to shift certain things to New York was a very, very deft move. It was. Yeah. Because now, regardless of what anybody else does, New York's has him, and they're going after him.
They have him, but my understanding is that if he puts his name in the hat for president, that then he cannot be indicted during that time period.
I think
don't know.
candidates can be indicted.
I would hope so, but
Candidates
I don't know.
can be indicted. There's no rule that says you can't indict a sitting president. It's just it's a cultural norm.
Okay.
But there's no law that says you cannot do this.
Cannot do that.
So what they're doing is relying on the government's cultural statements and norms. But as far as it being a law, well, I mean, if that was the case.
Well, nobody should be above the law. That's
Yeah,
for sure,
well,
right?
but nobody is.
Right, that's right.
But I think that, for instance, Bannon goes, and New York's got him. And I'm not sure. When you have a court, I'll call it a court, that is used to convicting mob people and securities criminals.
That's right. Big time.
Yeah. They know how to get through the stuff.
That's right.
They know how to investigate financial crimes.
That's right.
They know how to investigate mob stuff.
Underground crime.
Yeah,
black
man.
crime,
Now Georgia's trying to do something too, but the last district you want to go before
It's New York.
is Southern New York.
Yeah. I would think so.
No.
I would think so.
They put people away that didn't think they were going to jail.
What do you think is going to happen to his following once he is indicted, or if he is indicted?
Well,
what are they going to do?
I think the problem is that something I see strategically, and I'm ready to be corrected on this. They seem to be pulling at all the strings around him.
Yes.
They're pulling all the strings
Yes.
around.
Yes.
And I think they're doing that because somebody's going to decide, I'm not going to jail for this guy.
That's right. Somebody.
Yeah. And they're not wasting their time on a lot of minor players. I still think the financial guy, They only gave him 6 months, which was kind of offensive to me. I'm not sure if you or I were up on tax fraud at the level they were, that we have 6 months in a cushy.
Yeah. But we've seen others that have been,
Yeah, man.
convicted of tax fraud, and it wasn't 6 months,
Well,
and it was a lot longer. If we start going down the road.
oh man, it just, so they're charging him with money laundering. Regarding the border wall, which is, that whole thing was a hoax.
It was a money-making scheme. Folks think, this is my perspective.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
to be corrected also, that
Okay.
it was an event to keep folks out.
Okay.
I think that was the political ploy, but
Okay.
it was a money-making venture.
Yeah.
That made a lot of people.
It was a
lot
fundraiser.
of
It was a
money.
fundraiser,
It was
man.
a fundraiser and putting money in folks' pockets. So Bannon finally gets indicted with money laundering for the border wall, and you're like, well, why? Okay, that's going to cost a lot of money to build this wall. That's not a bad place to launder money if we have to.
Do you think they may have done some of these things, assuming their former president was going to still be in power, and he would cover them, or did they just have a lawless kind of mindset while he was in office?
No, I think it's both, because
Okay.
that's what's changed. That there were things in the past president's reign that we all knew were wrong, but were being done, and folks just
Yet so
let
many
him
people
do it.
supporting it.
Even the things that were done before, he won.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality is, 70 million people voted for him.
Well, and I'm not sure. I think the standards that they would have set for other people, they did not set for him.
Well, we know that.
Yeah, and I think the national church, especially the evangelical church, as strict as they've been, I saw some of my friends who are evangelicals throw their standards for everything away
Right.
because they thought what we're going to gain is worth us, but now they're experiencing an exodus of the young people, exodus of females. They're seeing this great exodus, especially from my Southern Baptist church friends. They're seeing an outflow
Yeah.
because they went from we're about the right thing to we're not going to say anything about what he's doing.
That's right. And
Yeah.
wrong is wrong, is right is right. But what do
Yeah.
you think at the core caused them to do that, caused them to kind of look the other way? What was it that they really thought they were going to get?
Well, I don't know if you were. No, you might have been away on business, but we played a tape a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
A guy I know who was evangelical, who broke away because of the very thing we're talking about, and he had a tape of the former president and some of the leaders of the evangelical movement cutting a deal with him. I'll give you what you want, but you can't criticize me while I'm in office.
Okay.
So he bought their silence.
So he bought this up.
Hmm. And then they had to fix it in their head that their silence was worth what they were going to get. But it's crumbling on them.
Yeah. So the whole gain the world, lose your soul.
Yeah. It just they just went. It was. I watched it happen. But they cut a deal with him. And you notice how silent they were, no matter what he did.
Yeah.
And I know the guys I know. If there was a previous president that did this,
Any previous president,
Yeah.
not just Obama, any of them.
their hair would be on fire. Literally, their hair would be on fire.
Exactly.
So I'm like, wow. But I don't know, man. I think as I shared with the Harvest Pastors a while ago, what God did during this season that we're in is actually reveal the wheat among the tares, or the tares
Yeah,
among the
among the
wheat. He did not do it for us to judge them. He did that so we could identify them.
Identify what
Yeah.
it was and see it for what it
Yeah,
is.
yeah. So now suddenly, I use it this way: the gopher pushed his head up out of the hole, and now they want you to think that the gopher didn't appear, but
Yeah.
the gopher's
It
head,
was there.
It was
real.
there.
Yeah.
So guys are trying to backpedal now, but it's not working.
No, not when you've done it all publicly.
And they were very, very consistent, loud, and aggressive with it. I got a friend, hope he's still a friend in Baltimore, and I went to preach at his church, and he was so pro politics in his church that I finally had to say something in the study. You normally don't get in confrontations with your host. But they were talking, and they assumed, because of the circles that I traveled in, that I had the same mindset they did. And he brought out this whole political agenda thing right in front of his staff, and then asked me the $55,000 question. So what do you think?
What do you think?
Well,
you asked.
Look, grandmom's rule: ask for it and chop
That's
right.
That's
you
right.
get it chopped right.
So you gave it to him.
As nicely as I could. But I watched him have a 30% minority church, and he was so brazen with this Trumpian thing that it didn't matter to him how he was inflicting upon the people that were supposed. Yeah, it didn't matter. Didn't matter. And it was offensive to me.
Yeah.
So when he finally asked me, and I finally got permission from him by him asking, as Grandma would say, business picked up.
Business picked up.
Yeah, I haven't been invited back since, but but God was good. I think that what I've found is there's a lot of people who support the previous president that assume you agree with everything they're feeling. And because they feel so passionately about it, that validates their point of view. And they think that automatically I feel so strongly about this. You're a rational guy, you're a professional guy, you must agree. You got to see it the way I see it.
You got to see it.
And I've had that with contractors that I've dealt with, corporate heads.
Yeah.
I can see their faces and name their names, where they assumed, because of the circles that you have to travel in, that you would agree with this stuff.
Yeah, and I've seen folks that are in denial. I know that who they voted for. They've told me who they voted for, and I'll say, well, so what do you think? And they say, oh, I just think it's hilarious to watch this whole thing. Really? Because they're not concerned, because it has no impact on them. It's not going to have any impact on their lifestyle. Right. It's not going to touch them or their family. They can go and live their life the way they want to live it, and not thinking about those that are impacted by those things that have been put into place. Yeah. When he was there, and even to some extent since.
If you read the Republican agenda, and all those agendas have faults in them. In that particular agenda, there's the desire to do away with Social Security. This whole thing with the pharmaceutical costs, not on their agenda.
That's right.
They want them to stay high.
That's right.
So there are things that are detriment to people. Social Security going away. You work your whole life.
Nothing. Yeah.
But you've got people supporting something that's not in their best interest.
That's right. And the same thing with college costs too, right? The costs continue to rise. It's astronomical. It's also almost criminal in my point of view, because there's no accountability on the schools. But there's not a care, because those folks that can pay it will pay it, and those folks that can't,
I think it further exacerbates the separation or the loss of opportunity.
It does.
So I need to keep Harvard at 125 a year to make sure that most of you guys don't get to go.
Get in, right. But you know that the state of Massachusetts came down on Harvard and has told Harvard, and Harvard has said to Harvard, you have to use some of your endowment money. And so now, like 10% of that money has to go towards scholarships for the. It was only like $5 million.
Okay.
And they got $56 billion endowment.
Did they have that much?
$56 billion. Harvard.
That's unimaginable.
It's crazy.
They say University of Pennsylvania's up there too.
They all the Ivies have plenty of money.
Yale and
Brown and Princeton and.
I got a friend that went to Brown, and she said it was an unusual place.
Well, our daughter's there, and it's
is she?
It's an unusual place.
Okay, because Delia Bass went to Brown, and she used to tell us at work, just the environment that she had to go to. A couple of my friends, when we were living in the projects, they got into a special program, and they went to Dana Hall, supposed to be one of the finest prep schools for girls in the country, in the world actually, and the opportunity changed their lives, but the adjustment they had to make to survive the process was amazing.
Yeah, I think they're doing a much better job now, but there still are reverberations of those things that will always be.
Yeah, and
right?
in our day, you're talking late 60s, early 70s. You put a child of color in that environment, and they were fortunate that they survived it. Now I think it may be a little better.
Yeah, I think it's better now because the environments are so much more of a melting pot than you would think.
Or is it that the inequality has become more sophisticated?
Well, I think the reality is there's always going to be inequality, but in an academic environment, if you are focused and if you are intelligent, and look, these kids that are getting in these schools, they're bright.
Oh yeah.
So they can do the work.
Oh yeah.
And then they just have to migrate everything else.
But that's a surprise to a lot of people too, that they can do the work.
Yeah, they can do the work.
Yeah, because all our kids that went to Dana Hall, and there was another one up there in the Northeast, they were all Rosalind Plummer from Philly, Cynthia Jetta from Chester, Kenneth Hardy from Chester, from the same projects I came from. They were all brilliant kids, but that brilliance would have never been cultivated in the way that it was if they had not had those opportunities. Yeah. But Upward Bound is what
Upward
got
Bound, yeah, Upward Bound was a great program. Actually.
Oh yeah. And I wonder why you don't hear much about it anymore.
You don't hear, it's still there, but you don't hear nearly as much about it as you did when I was coming up.
Yeah.
But it's still there. But I think most of these institutions have programs now where it's in their best interest to have demographics that look more like a melting pot than not.
I think melting pot is an overstatement, but I understand what you're saying. A couple potatoes in the pot. 866-743-8267. This is On Point, the #1 Saturday morning Christian-based call-in talk show in America. 866-743-8267. Let's go to Danny from Florida. Good morning, Danny. How you doing?
Good morning, Bishop. How you doing this morning?
Doing all right, man. What's happening in Florida? Give us the on-the-ground report.
Well, we're seeing things, a lot of changes going on within the world itself, and I just called to pick up just briefly on some of the things that we talked about last week.
Okay.
Namely, what's happening in the world, the changes environmentally, and I find that some things that we have in common, all people, would be your food, your water, and your air, and these things that are happening, and the changes that are going on with it. And namely with the water, we have so much contamination, there's nothing really that you can do about it, and you wonder, can you really safely drink?
Well, I think it's one of the reasons that bottled water has become such a multi-billion-dollar industry. I mean, when I was young, I never thought I'd go out and buy water.
No.
But if you have any sense now, you buy some.
Right. No, you do. When I was growing up, that's a good comment, Danny. My grandmother, who lived in Philly on Roberts Avenue, used to have the man come bring the 5-gallon jugs of water. We turned it upside down because you could taste the difference in the water in the city,
especially in Philly.
But to your point, we used to drink water right out the hose, right? And be good.
Absolutely.
But now these pipes are so old. And you see what's happening in Mississippi, I think to Danny's point, and not being able to use water. You see what's been happening in Flint since President Obama was in office.
Yep.
And so, being the chemist myself that I am, this is real stuff. Because as Danny's saying, water and air, if it's not clean, it's almost a hidden type poison that can be having an impact on you.
It's a slow way to die.
It's a slow way, you wake up one day and then there's something wrong. So it is a really big issue. But that infrastructure bill that they just put in place is going to help start to clean up some of those underground piping and those things that are going to need to be replaced because they've been in place forever.
I remember when we used to go to Fairmount Park to get fresh spring water. You dare do not that. No. And so Dan, I think we're watching the general deterioration of the infrastructure reveal itself. water, roads, but also, Danny, I think the pervasiveness of disease in all parts of the world are directly related to the three things you mentioned: air, water, and food.
Mm-hmm.
It is nowhere around. Those are the only three things that we all share in common.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
So that's got to be the reason.
That's right.
You know, so I don't know. And then if it's air, we've got to stop polluting it because that's hurting the soil. Got food that comes out of the soil.
Mm-hmm.
We got water that we have to drink.
Right.
You know, there used to be, if you lived in Idaho, you didn't catch cancer like everybody else does. Living on the side of a mountain, minding your business.
That's right.
You know, watching bears go by in the morning. You were cool. Used to be if you're in Japan, you didn't have it that much. It's all over the world now.
That's right. And even if you are buying, and I don't want to scare folks, but even if you're buying organic food, that means you're not spraying any pesticides, insecticides, or herbicides on it.
Right.
But the seed's still in the ground.
Absolutely.
In the dirt.
Absolutely.
It's still coming up out of the dirt.
Now,
and it's still being watered by.
Yeah. It's a safer bet, but
right.
it's not.
It's a safer bet, but it's not
without its own
not
hazards.
Without it, exactly.
And it's expensive.
It is very expensive.
Man. So do you all eat organically, Danny? What do you all do?
Well, we try to, but then once you back to the point, you know, we go ahead and try to grow your own food. But like what was said, what is in the ground? We don't even know what is in the ground. You know, and also just like rain, there has to be some water to give to the plants and what have you in order for them to grow. What's coming out of the sky? We don't know.
I think that it's naive to think that rain and snow comes down unpolluted.
Yeah.
You know, based on the atmosphere that it has to travel through. I remember we used to wait for it to snow because the next door neighbor made ice cream out of the snow.
Mm-hmm.
Vanilla ice cream, strawberry.
Yeah.
Man, you wouldn't need the snow now.
No. Well, you remember there used to be all that talk about acid rain, and you don't hear about acid rain anymore.
No.
Why don't you hear about it? Well, acid rain used to mess up your vehicle.
Right.
But the chemistry for the vehicles has become so good that the rain won't mess up the vehicle
So they
anymore.
put the clear coat on it.
Resistant.
They put the clear coat on it.
They put that clear coat on it. And it's resistant to those type of things, so you don't hear about it as much anymore. But that's why the sustainable initiatives and the whole ESG goals are so very important. And I think this next generation, like my kids, your grandkids, they care about stuff like that.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, and they're going to, I still have faith in them to make sure that help going to make this thing what it needs to be.
Why doesn't our generation care more about it?
I think our generation, to some extent, cares, but
not enough to impede
not enough
income.
Yeah, not enough.
No, it's a good thing to talk about.
Another point is that, and I'll make this the last one, is that the diseases that we have now, back in the day, you never heard about those things, and longevity was much better. And it seems like we thought that we weren't eating good because we had a lot of greens and vegetables and things like that. We didn't have all the meat on our plate. And now everything is fast food this, fast food that, and what's in it?
Well, you know, it's funny. My grandma passed away she was about to have her 101st birthday. And one point we had to have some paramedics come to the house. So we're all there, and and she was about 96 at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And the paramedic says, you know, can you get the rest of her medication? I said, that's it. She's got those two. Got those two. I said, that's it. And he said, 2? I said, 2. I said, I take more than she does.
Mm-hmm.
You got 2. He said, wow. And I thought about the regimens that she had in her life, keeping her colon clean. She was like her whole life taking that castor oil once a month. Got to be something said for it.
I can't take that. If my mama ain't giving it to me, I'm not taking it.
Well,
I'm not giving it to myself.
I had that mindset until I got sick enough one time. I went to my grandmother and said,
Maybe I need to think about
do you have any castor oil? Do you have any castor oil? She said, what? You asked? I had to go through 15 minutes of that. She pulled out Old Faithful bottle.
Right.
And I, put it in the pot.
And went
warmed it up.
Huh?
Warmed it up.
Went on in, huh?
Yeah, man, warmed it up. And it worked. I got well.
But to Danny's point, And his point is correct. You know, for the first time, and I was reading this in the paper a couple weeks ago, and I just pulled it up, that the life expectancy has dropped. It had been continually to go up, and then once we got since 2019, it has dropped. And
how much?
And the expectancy dropped 1.9 years in 2021, but the data showed that the life expectancy has dropped 6.6 years since 2019.
Wow.
6.6 years since 2019. Look it up in the Wall Street Journal in September.
So 65 used to be the magic number.
65, it used to 65.2 years. So it used to be 71. It's now 65.2.
Wow.
That's for Americans. That's just for Americans.
So
but still,
what
to his point,
what are we doing to
but
ourselves?
you're doing something wrong, that's for sure.
Oh, Danny. How's my sister doing, man?
Blessed and highly favored, Bishop.
I'm sure she is. Give her my love, man.
Will do. God bless you all.
Talk to you now. Bye-bye.
All right.
Going to Tom, also from Florida. Hey, Tom.
Good morning, Bishop. How you doing?
All right, man. Thanks for calling us again.
Hey, thank you. Hey, Bishop, being cynical, you talk about, Danny was talking about water.
Mm-hmm.
Something a little bit different with water is the big companies like Coca-Cola and Pepsi, the profit they make from the sale of water is astronomical.
Incredible.
Much more than from Gatorade.
Incredible.
Or from their other products.
Incredible.
The true definition of capitalism.
Yes, sir. Why do you think they started selling cold coffee?
Yeah.
Just color the water and sell it.
Color the water and sell it.
Yeah, man, there's money in water. I'm not sure the market's pretty saturated now. I've got a friend that opened up a water company, and one of our harvest pastors, and that thing's taking off, man.
Cynical, but yeah, that's crazy.
It's taking off, and they, you know, the key is to find some water that doesn't have an aftertaste.
That's right.
Or doesn't taste bitter when you're drinking it.
That's right.
And this harvest pastor has found one that smooth, tastes good, cold or lukewarm, and people are buying it.
Yeah, water's not going anywhere.
No.
Bottled purchased water is here to stay.
Oh yeah, I believe that.
It's here to stay.
Wouldn't that be amazing if it'll never happen? I was dreaming for a minute. If they cleaned up all the rivers and stuff.
But the reality is that we still have time to do it. There's still time to revert. You know, you minimize plastic or get biodegradable plastic.
Sure.
You instead of buying new clothes. I watched last week on 60 Minutes. Instead of buying new clothes, the majority of landfills are closed.
Are you
There's
kidding
enough
me?
clothes for everybody to go get secondhand clothes and not have to make any more clothes. Now that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But little things like that can help change all that.
I didn't know that 1/3 of all the waste in America was cigarette butts.
I thought folks weren't smoking.
They don't break down. They're
They
not biodegradable. They last forever. They leak and mess up soil and everything. 1/3 of the waste is cigarette butts.
Astronomical.
That's a whole lot.
That's a whole lot of. I was going to say something like that.
What else going on down there, man?
I can't hear you through my phone. But the other thing was you were talking about the Queen.
Yeah.
She was married for 73 years.
Whew. Man.
She got married at like 19.
Yeah, 19 or something like that.
Heck of a woman. She really. And you were talking about Charles, King Charles, not being so emotional. Everything I've been reading this morning, saying that he's a little more emotional than anybody even thought he would be, because he's not an emotional guy.
Well, it is his mother. It is his mom, or mama as he calls her.
Papa.
You know, it's just amazing, man. You doing all right down there, Tom?
Realize he is now the king. He is. So responsibilities where he has to show up in a different manner.
Oh yeah. Well, it's like I was saying. There's a people's reaction are often monitored or governed by their responsibility. The head of household can't go crazy because it would drag the rest of the household with it. You know, the corporate head can't go crazy because it's going to impact dozens of lives. So responsibility has a tendency to modulate your reaction to things going around.
It's like that story you always tell about when you're on the plane. And the
Oh,
plane
yeah.
got a little shaky, and you
Oh,
had
yeah.
to look back at the people.
Yeah,
And
that's-
you couldn't go crazy.
I couldn't say, ah, God, ah, we're gonna die. I couldn't.
They'd all lost.
Oh, man. Tom, thanks for calling us, man.
Okay, take care.
Talk to you. We've got Tanya. Hi, Tanya. Welcome to OnPoint.
Hello.
Hi, welcome to OnPoint.
Oh, hi, Bishop. How are you?
All right, turn your device down in the
Let me
back.
turn this down. Well, I was your last call on Saturday.
Yes.
Saturday.
Yes.
Sister Tanya calling from Willenboro.
Yeah.
And I called to talk to you about the water again.
Okay.
But I'm so glad that the chemist is on with you.
Yeah. He knows what he's talking about.
I'm so glad the chemist is on you because there we go. So yes, I found out more information. Because remember, the last thing you said to me was like, "Well, what about your skin with all this problem with Willenboro water?"
Mm-hmm.
And so now there's a class action suit because finally the water company sent out a letter saying, if you cannot drink our water, go see your doctor. So there's one woman in town. She went to see her doctor, and her doctor recommended that she didn't drink the water because it has PFAS in it.
Okay, and
so
PFAS is what?
Now, remember we were talking about the PFAS is a chemical that many of the industrial companies, even the fire department, they use it to kind of clean their equipment.
Yeah, our chemist is bringing it up right now. We'll know the details in a second.
So now there's an investigation going on to see who possibly leaked it into the water system. And now they turned off one of the water towers because it's just not safe. So that's where we are right now.
So there's a source issue.
Yeah.
What are you reading?
No, she's right. I mean, the class action suit has been filed, and after receiving notice of the levels of the cancer-causing chemical PFAS is found in her tap water, which is you're allowed to have it in the water. It just can't be above a certain level.
Explain that to me.
Well,
I'm glad you're here today.
I want to know too.
Yeah, this is my question.
it's with everything.
It's in the but it's in the water.
Uh-huh.
But as long as you keep it below a certain level,
Below a certain level,
you're all right. Now,
it's all right.
that makes a little sense to me if I'm drinking one glass and never drinking another one.
Uh-huh.
But if I'm drinking a little bit of that every day,
Well,
that becomes an issue.
Yeah. Well,
If I'm washing it every day, there has an cumulative
the
effect.
reality is, Bishop, that's why our blood flows throughout our body, because it's clean, and that's why we have filtering systems in our body. The blood is cleaning things that you're breathing in the air. It's cleaning things that you're drinking in your water, and it filters things out to a certain level. It's like everything in moderation.
I'm sure the Lord didn't include PFAS when he gave us a liver and kidneys.
He thought about it all. We know that.
Well, you drink enough of that, and it starts to bother what he put in there to help you out.
These are polyfluoroalkali substances.
Okay, break that down.
And they are poisonous.
Okay.
And humans are exposed to it through consumer projects, contaminated food or drinking water.
Mm-hmm.
It can be present in food crops and items like fish.
Okay.
But again, there are certain levels, it's saying here, is what I thought, that are acceptable. This same thing with lead. It's same thing with buy fig Newtons. Figs, all figs have insects in them. And you're eating some of that crunchy stuff in the fig Newton.
So
is
they
insect.
convinced us that they're acceptable levels of poison.
They're acceptable levels. They have to be
Acceptable to who?
Well, studies have been done.
They start talking percentages when they want to hide something. Yeah.
But studies have been done.
Yeah.
Whether it's
On
the
who?
FDA does studies. They do them on mice. They do them on people.
I'm not too crazy about the FDA. I'll tell you why.
Okay.
I'll tell you why.
I'm with you, Bishop.
I grow weary of watching commercials.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they say take this to help this.
But all the side effects will
Oh,
can be.
man.
That's more legal. That's more the legal.
But it did happen in the test, though, right?
It has happened, but
Yeah,
the probability
You sound like a
is
chemist now.
lower. Well, science explains everything.
You
But
sound
the
like
probability is lower.
Probability.
Is lower than the benefit of taking the medicine.
But no. I have a friend who's now deceased.
Okay.
Who was given some medicine for her rheumatoid arthritis. It gave her bone cancer. The doctor told her, you'll be all right, and it killed her. So the thing that I distress about, the percentages and the probabilities are acceptable until you are in the probability.
Yeah, well, that's why some people didn't take the vaccine. I took the vaccine. There was a slight probability that it may not work.
Flu vaccine does that all the time. Polio.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, how do you get polio?
I don't know.
In New York?
I've been talking to Lisa about this. How do you get polio in 2022? I thought everybody got vaccinated for polio.
They didn't. They didn't.
I thought it was required, like, to go to school.
You have some people that don't want the vaccine, so now they're carrying and distributing the virus.
It's crazy that polio is
because it went into the wastewater.
Yeah.
And then they found it testing.
Yeah, it's crazy. Polio in New York.
That's bizarre. It's.
I have a tiny other question.
Go ahead.
Well, the other tiny question I have to ask is that when we received the letter that PFAS is in our water, it was a year and a half later. It's just by some fluke, somebody let it out.
What?
So people were drinking this water
for over a year?
At this high level for well over a year.
Man, that's underhanded.
Yeah.
Because they knew, obviously.
Right.
And now they're telling all the, pregnant women, definitely, there's someone's doing a study also to find out the correlation to kids who are coming down now with autism.
Mm-hmm.
So it's having a trickling effect, and it's not a good time here.
I often
buying bottled water. Even I haven't drank the water now for well over a year. We just buy water all the time.
I often wonder why certain communities are not faced with this type of hazard, and if they are, the problem is rectified relatively quickly. Why in certain communities is there always let's make the money and keep it quiet for a while? Because that's what it really boils down to, is money.
I am 10 minutes away, Bishop, from Del Rand. Del Rand changed their whole water system when they had this problem.
Yeah,
really?
That's what they do. I mean, Willenboro actually broke ground on a new water facility.
Okay.
Yeah.
They just broke ground 5 days ago on a new water facility because that's what you have to do. You have to.
Yeah, but it's a year
shut
and a
it
half.
down.
This is a year and a half old problem,
Yeah.
and they're just telling people
that's the problem. That's a problem.
That's an issue.
That's an issue.
So you don't. And here's the thing: you cannot really predict the impact on every human being. Some of us are more sensitive to things than others.
Everybody's genetic makeup is different.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I drink, but how do you guys bathe and all and cook?
Bishop, it's been I've been blessed that I can cook with. I go to Sam's and I buy the 5-gallon jugs of water and I put a pump on it.
Okay.
I put a purifier on my sink, but they say you can't even boil PFAS out of the water. So I'm able, but there's a lot of elderly people in Willenboro that can't afford the water.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
To buy that much water to cook with. I brush my teeth with bottled water.
I don't blame you.
Mm-hmm.
Your skin is the most absorbent, one of the most absorbent things in the world. So, even bathing in that kind of water over time could be a problem.
Definitely, I'm using more moisturizer than ever. Oh my gosh! Like you get out of the shower and you go, "Why am I itchy?"
Water.
Mm-hmm.
PFAS, they call it. And what was the chemical name, Pastor?
Polyfluoroalkyl.
Yeah.
Polyfluoroalkyl. Okay.
Yeah.
And they call it PFAS.
PFAS. Mm-hmm.
I wonder where they get
Can't
this.
boil it out.
You can't boil it out.
Actually, the heat may make it worse.
So you're cooking with
The
it.
chemist from FIT, she said, "Auntie, whatever you do, do not even brush your teeth with that water. Don't drink it. So you can wash in it for now, but don't do anything else.
Wow. And this is right here in Willingboro.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
But I'm glad that you saw the current, because I didn't see that that notification that they broke ground.
Yeah, they broke ground 5 days ago.
For the longest, they were fighting back and forth on the bids of who was going to build the new tower, water tower, because we have had that 5th tower turned off for a good minute now.
Well, wait a minute. Now, the water tower system, water is brought in and put in the tower?
Their water is filtered through their water filtration system, then goes
into the tower.
And
So
then
it's
that
still the same water.
Goes out to the people.
But it's still the same water source.
Yes, but the filtration system is what's supposed to take all that stuff
Okay,
out.
now chemist, this is, if you can't boil it out,
No, you can't filter it out.
can't fill. Okay, that's just,
So you have to get the water from another source.
that's what I'm thinking.
Right, you have to get another source of the water.
So building a new
Water
facility,
filtration system, but there are other sources of water. Water can come in from different areas. Where the pipes are located.
so they,
Mississippi's doing the same thing. What is hard to believe is why Flint hasn't done. Why Flint today still has a water problem.
even now,
Flint, Michigan still has a water problem. It comes and goes. It ebbs and flows in Flint.
unbelievable. Unbelievable.
It is. It really is.
Well, just keep us posted as to the progress up there, please.
I surely will, Bishop.
And we appreciate you calling us on OnPoint today.
Okay.
Talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon. See
Bye
you
bye.
Sunday.
All right, bye bye.
Bye-bye.
866-743-8267, 866-743-8267. We still have a few moments. Give us a call. Yes, Rich.
I should have said this earlier because we sell it at our company. I'm not putting the plug in, but activated carbon.
Shameful plug.
Activated carbon will take out PFAS.
Activated carbon.
Activated carbon.
Okay, so how do people apply activated carbon to this situation?
No, you can't go and do it like that.
No?
It has to be put in the filtration system to take out the PFAS. We'll take PFAS out.
So then why would they build a new one if they could just put the activated carbon?
No. That once the system is in,
Yeah.
and it's already been contaminated
Okay.
with PFAS, you gotta.
The whole system has to come
a
out.
new system in. That's right.
And those are millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah. But Mississippi's doing it now.
About time.
Yeah. It sounds like Willingboro is going to break ground. Has broken ground and is going to do it.
And what is activated carbon?
Activated carbon comes from sawdust.
Okay.
So when people cut
From
trees and
sawdust?
everything, yeah, they take the char from the sawdust is then burned.
Okay.
And compressed into carbon.
Okay.
And then it becomes activated carbon. It's basically just
So it's a great filter.
it's a great filter.
Now,
You can find places that will sell you activated carbon to put in your water, but I think it's more fluff than it is really.
Okay.
Really.
it really has to establish a flow.
Press
and go
it
through.
has to
Yeah.
go, water comes here, activated carbon here, water comes out here.
Okay. Wow. You were right on time today.
I don't know about that.
We didn't mean to put you to work this morning,
Put me
but
to work.
all right. So we're going to pray for Willingboro, of course. Now, the Obama's portraits are unveiled, and of course, there are a lot of opinions about it.
Yes, they are.
Now, I saw an old picture that I thought was the original one for Mrs. Obama
Oh, that one. I know what
with
you're
the real
talking
colorful
about.
dress and everything.
Right. This is
Are these different?
These are different. This is him standing in a suit with a white background. The one you saw with her was like flowers all
Right,
around.
right.
It's her in a red dress, kind of sitting, posing.
Okay.
It's beautiful, beautiful picture.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so why are they questioning his?
They're not questioning it. They're questioning how come the former president was supposed to do it and he said, I ain't doing it.
No,
I'm
he
not
didn't.
doing it. Excuse me.
No, he
My
didn't.
proper English. Somebody gonna get on me. He didn't do it. President Trump would not unveil their portraits as is usually is the case for.
I didn't know that.
He wouldn't do it. He wouldn't do it. Yep.
He's got to be one of the most ungracious individuals I've ever met.
He wouldn't do it. He wouldn't do
Oh,
it.
man.
Yeah, he wouldn't do it. So President Bush and First Lady Bush invited the Obamas over, and they unveiled their portraits. And these portraits hang, in the White House for eternity of the president and the first
He
lady.
didn't want that.
He wouldn't do it. I don't know, but I don't know.
That's just social grace.
It's just the right thing to do.
Yeah. Wow. He never ceases to disappoint. Now, remember, tomorrow, weather permitting, we'll be outside at 11 o'clock, but you can also join us at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning for our virtual service. We're in a powerful series entitled Rhythm. You don't want to miss this next installment. We believe it's going to be a blessing to you, inspire you, also increase your faith, just motivate you to do what the series is suggesting, that you find the rhythm of God for your life, seeking God first. Ask you to continue to share and like and subscribe to OnPoint and the DGM podcast. But also join us on our sites, BBC of NJ and David G. Evans 1. Let me see, what else we got going on? I want to thank you once again for tremendous participation in our backpack giveaway, our back-to-school giveaway. Amazing. You all did a fantastic job, and I just thank God for all of you. Don't forget, we have our first soft opening on the 18th of September. You can go on the site beginning this Sunday, I believe, at 9 o'clock, and the registration process will be very friendly, very plain, very straightforward. We'd love to see you in the house. There's only a limited number of people coming the first 2 weeks, and there's not going to be an unlimited number after that, but the first 2 weeks we're going to have a very soft opening. So if you want to come to church, we ask you to register, vaccine card, identification. So all you got to do when we get here is take your temperature and scan your, what they call it, Q something. It looks. We used to call them barcodes, but they look weird. Q.
Or for your vaccine?
Yeah, no, just to get into church. They got those, the thing you scan with your phone so you can.
Oh, the QR code.
QR code, yeah,
code,
that thing.
Yeah,
I knew it was Q something.
QR reader. Yeah.
QR reader, yeah. So register in advance, prepare. Now, those of you that are not technological, we have a number for you to call. Just call the church on Monday. You can call and register by phone. We'll get you fixed up and ready to go. This is members only for the first 2 weeks. Members only while we test the system, see how things are going. We got a ionizer attached to our ventilation system. So not just some air, but every bit of air that comes through this building will go through this virus-killing, bacteria-killing mechanism that we bought. It was installed this week. So we are preparing for you. We've got seats mapped out. Ushers are going to be here. Security going to be there to help you in and out. You want to worry about it. We're going to have a great time in the Lord. We're looking forward to our first Sunday back in the house of God. Now, what I want you to do for Reverend Richard White, I'm Bishop David G. Evans. Remember now, faith acts like a thing is so, even when it's not so, that it might be so. God bless you, and I'll see you next time on OnPoint.